Stage 1 at Ardgarten, 4.5 miles on the hillside opposite the now disused Rest and Be Thankful. Donald Milne from Bankery is the current series leader, but he was in trouble right from the start with a misfire which cleared only after he'd lost 3 seconds to Gauld. He was lying second, but he too suffered a misfire at the start. It's been reappearing since the car was built over a year ago, and he's replaced every electrical component except the wiring loom. Guess what's next on the list? Neil Duggan was on his first time out in his new Escort Cosworth. He was understandably cautious. He hadn't even sat in the car before the rally. The lack of preparation was to prove costly. Mike Horn drives on a tight budget. He ran on second-hand tyres all day, but his skill saw him through with second fastest time on this stage, even though he broke his bumper here. Chris Wagner's Audi lacks the sheer grunt of the big turbo Fords, but here it was looking and sounding good as it bounced its way through the forest. Sharing second fastest time with Horn was local man Jimmy Patterson, at times fighting against his temperamental Ford Escort G4. In the right car, he could achieve so much more. Time to reflect on progress so far.
The car just seems to be losing power at 5,000 revs. The car boosts up to about, well, what it should be boosting to, and then it just dies off and there's absolutely no power at all. But it's the first stage of the rally, so there's a long way to go yet. We'll keep trying. Hopefully we'll get the problem resolved.
George Gauld took time to leave a message for his mum as he coughed and spluttered on his way.
The misfire that's plagued us all year has come back really badly in that first stage. We tried to cure it just further up the road by changing a few electrical components, but that hasn't, so we're waiting to change the fuel pump and see if it's a fuel problem.
John Byrne took it steadily down here. Last year he had a spectacular smack of the rock wall at this spot, but he still managed fastest 1600cc time here. This was Dougie McGillivray's fourth attempt at his own event. He'd failed to finish the previous 3, so he was taking it easy. This is the 11-miler Glendaruel, a stiff climb to the top of the hills and a long run down to Glenbranter village and the first service halt. Here's Donald Milne again, back in full swing after the misfire caused by water in the spark plug wells had been cured. Kenny Dorrans was driving blind. The car's intercom had given up on the first stage, and he could hear none of co-driver Gerald Bailey's instructions. Neil Duggan had settled in well to his new car, only 3 seconds behind Gauld, but regretting his too cautious start. Let's hear the action from inside the Cosworth, and co-driver Stuart Merry's
right
working
5.
hard.
Here, right 5. This is tricky. And junction right 8, tightens. Drop on outside, tightens right.
If there was a prize for an original colour scheme, this would have won it. Gordon Boyd had spent the previous 3 weeks completely rebuilding his car after crashing it while testing. The colour scheme was the result of a night in the pub with some friends. After second fastest time on the opening stage, Jimmy Patterson was about to do it again here, but the steering rack worked loose and he lost his wipers in a hailstorm, and with them, any chance of success. We're back with Duggan again, and this is the fast downhill section. This is where the speed really builds up, but for the unwary, there's a tricky hairpin, and it caught out quite a few.
Left 5.
This was Donald Smith from Dunn's first time out this year, and it showed. John Byrne was still leading the 1600cc class, but he was trying just a touch hard here. This is John Lawson from Airdrie, about to lose some time. But he got going again thanks to the ever-ready spectators, but dropped down to 49th place. At least he did better than Mike Faulkner from Boat of Garten. Just look at these amateur pictures from Jim Barclay as he almost wipes out our cameraman, diving for cover. Even then, his problems weren't over. Quite simply, it just wasn't his day. More dramatic for Donald Smith, though, making a terminal exit from the rally. There was only body damage, but he was stuck fast on top of the logs. Stage 4 at West Loch Eck, almost 10 miles of lochside and uphill into the appropriately named Glenshelish. With Gauld now out of the reckoning, Milne was in the lead, but battling to hold off Dugan.
Over crest, right 9, left 9.
Milne was quickest here, but Dugan was just 1 second slower. Only 30 seconds covered the fastest 10 drivers through this fearsome stage. Jimmy Pattison was just behind them. Stage 5, Corrialt, 5.5 miles of hairpins uphill and downhill. Mike Hahn finished third overall, but with victory in sight, Donald Milne made no mistakes and snatched a win by 13 seconds after 40 miles of competitive driving. Phil Walker hung on to the coattails of the Flying Fords and was rewarded with 11th overall. And we're back with Neil Dugan again.
And left 7 into right 9, holding outside.
He's trying hard, perhaps a bit too hard in this final flurry.
And left 7. And left and right into hairpin left. Keep in, keep in.
And he's told off by Stuart Merry.
Neil, we ain't going to get to the finish if you drive like this.
With that spin,
Right 9,
he threw away any chance of
left 9.
catching Milne and had to settle for his third runner-up place this year.
Right 9, left 9.
John Baird is now 6th overall in the championship after his 8th place on this round. And Duncan Jaffrey was the top Burma challenger for the 4th event in a row. Billy McClelland was trying hard, very hard, and after this jump, put the Escort on its side and out of the rally. This was only Malach Nichols' second event with a four-wheel drive Audi. He may have been lucky to survive. Well, he may have been sponsor, but again, Doogie McGilvray failed to finish when he ran out of petrol. Down below, though, Robert Watson was leaping home. So, success again for Donald Milne and Bob Wilson, savouring once more the traditional champagne. And this is how the rest of them finished. And in the championship, Donald Milne is leading by 18 points after 3 wins. But the competition's getting closer all the time.